28th of January, Rabbi Levitt, Daniel.
Right.
Okay, Rabbi, I'm ready.
Okay. Pasuk Yud Daled, page 56.
It starts with a V, right?
Vishim Ace.
You don't. A V min. You hold the shima ace. Aloch di ru ach Elohim boch v'nahi ru v'sochel sonu v'hocha nor ye yatiror hishta ches boch an who low can do my kaki mayua osha fayua d sevor.
Are you reading the next pasuk?
I was going to. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. 14. Translation of 14. Want to read the translation?
Yeah. I've heard about you that the spirit of Hashem is in you, and that brilliance, understanding, and extraordinary wisdom are found in you. The sages and astrologers were now brought before me to read this writing and make its interpretation known to me, but they could not tell the interpretation of the matter. But
okay.
That's it, right?
Yeah. Okay. So that on Yud Daled, there's no notes. There's no notes over here. It's just basically repetition of what his wife said, the queen. So he's taking her up on it, and Daniel is coming. Okay, so we continued with in pasuk Tesvav, which is really a continuation of the statement of Belshazzar. We go to Lu.
Ucha an hu alu kadamai hakimaya ash faya di sava dina yikron ufishrei lehoda usani v'la chalin pishar milsa lehachavaya. The sages, the astrologers, were now brought before me to read this writing and make its interpretation known to me, but they could not tell the interpretation of the matter. There's no comments on 15.
No comments on 15. We have a Mitsudis over here in 15. Let's see what he says over here. V'ata הוכנסו לפני החכמים השפים השיקו הכסב הזה להודיע לי הפסחון ולא יוכלו להגיד פסחון הדבר. Yeah, so he's just seems to be relating the same thing that the pasuk says. I brought the sages before me, and they were not able to interpret the word the letters at all. V'avshagam koru mikra lo yuchlu, and even though they read it themselves, they saw the words. It's not like the previous times when Nebuchadnezzar said, "Tell me what the dream means," and they said, "Your Highness, you didn't tell us what the dream was that we have to interpret." Here, the handwriting is on the wall. Just tell me what it means. He couldn't do it. Hine kochash lo l'chsos kolon chachme amoy ma de efsher. Oh, oh, oh! He's making an interesting point. Actually, I didn't read it right. The same thing happened to the sages. What he's saying over here is, if you take a look in he's trying to make the sages look good, because all he said about them was that they could not tell me the interpretation of the matter. What does that sound like? It sounds like they were able to decipher the words and work out what it is that the words were, but the interpretation of the words was difficult to convey. But in fact, the Mitsudis is relating that really what happened was af shegam koru mikra lo yochlu. They couldn't even read it. They couldn't even read it. They were like 5-year-old kids in the cheder, and the Rebbe asked them to read the pasuk, and they can't read the pasuk. They weren't able to read the pasuk even what it said on the wall. But what's his name didn't want to say that to Daniel because he's trying to honor the honor of his esteemed sages that were reduced to 5-year-olds that weren't even able to read the words. Wow. How come they didn't put that in the comments? I think that's a very good comment to put in. Okay. They don't put in everything. They got. I think it's because they got space restrictions over here. It's got, there can only be a certain amount. Everything's got to fit, right? So, but they provide you with the commentaries themselves. Okay. So on to the next pasuk. Pasuk Tes Zion. We go to Meir.
Tes Zion. Okay. Let me just find the 2 dots. Okay. Va'ana shim'et Allah di tikul per pishrin lemifshar lekitrin lemishrei ka'an hain takul Ketadva lemikre ufirsha uvishrei lehoda utani argivana tilbash v'hamnikcha di dehava al savrach v'talta v'malchuta Tishlat. Okay, so this is what I have heard about you, and you were able to provide interpretations and resolve difficulties. Now, if you will be able to read the writing and make its interpretation known to me, you will wear royal purple with a chain of gold on your neck, and you will rule 1/3 of the kingdom.
Oh
Okay.
boy.
It says Pishrin Lemafshar. Okay, to provide, literally interpretations. Okay. Oh, that's it on 16. Okay.
Oh, oh, it doesn't go on to the next page. Oh, wow.
Oh, it goes to 17 on the next page.
17. Just a, hmm. Okay. That's all they have to say about that. I'm just pointing out that if you take a look at the words that he said over here, and you can even see it reflected in the English translation, over here, Belshazzar says the 2 points. He says, but I have heard that you were able to provide the interpretations, resolve difficulties. So now, if you will, number one, be able to read the writing, right? Because that itself was something that the sages of Chaldea were not able to do, because it was in a code. The letters were coded. It's a secret code. You have to figure it out. If you're going to, number one, be able to read the writing, in other words, to make sense of the words and make them into sentences, and then after you did that, make its interpretation known to me. Number two, if you'll be able to do those 2 things that the sages were not even able to do the first thing, then you're going to get great reward. So here you see that he's alluding to the fact that it's not going to be so easy to even read the words, read the writing itself. Okay, 17. Tulu. We going to Lu?
Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
let's see, 17. Uh, 17, where does it start? It starts on the previous page. Yeah. Be dayin ane Daniel v'amar kadam malka matnas son matanach matinasach lach lehev yan univaz beyasach le'acharan hav biram kisava ekrei lemalka ufishra v'hodeine. Daniel then replied and said before the king, let your gifts remain yours and give your rewards to others. But I will read for the king and make its interpretation known to him. Well, he gave up a third of the kingdom.
Yeah.
All right.
You want to know why he refused the?
It seems.
He refused.
Yeah, it seems kind of foolish to give up all that wealth and influence. He's doing the will of Hashem. It would seem like he could do a lot of good.
No. Maybe someone will speak about that.
Let's see, there is a commentary. Let your gifts remain yours, referring to the gifts of the royal purple and the golden chain and the rulership of a third of the empire. Daniel said to the king, let these presents remain yours, i.e., let your dominion not be diminished.
Right.
So it's not clear why he's saying that. Oh, excuse me a second. I got to get a phone call.
Okay, so right. Yeah, we don't have a Malbim in front of us, but maybe the Malbim goes into an explanation of why that would be. But we could offer the following thought that you know, Just ask a question. How do you think Belshazzar is going to feel when he's got to give up 1/3 of his kingdom to a Jew? Think he's going to like that?
Nope.
Think he's going to be favorably disposed towards the Jews? You think all the other people in the kingdom are going to be favorably disposed towards the Jews if he does such a thing?
Well, I could argue,
And the Jews will be in control and blah, blah, blah. And if something goes wrong, then whose fault is it?
on the other hand, I could argue that first of all, no one twisted his arm. He offered this of his own free volition, and if Daniel becomes like a partner to him, he rules 1/3 of the kingdom, and they work together. It could be a good thing, especially if Hashem gives Daniel his blessing, and there's prosperity.
Maybe Daniel asked Hashem.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, maybe Hashem said, "Don't do it."
Yeah.
All right, should I read the next comment?
Yeah.
And give your rewards to others. Should you think to reward me with money, I beg you to give it to others. Daniel did not think that reading the writing and translating it merited a reward. So it's an question. If Hashem decides to give me something, or to offer me something, what should my attitude be? Should I say, no, I'm going to be humble and not take it?
Is Hashem giving it to him?
Well, I presume so. Hashem is the one that wrote the thing on the wall in such a way that nobody could read it except Daniel.
If Hashem wants Daniel to be rich, he'll make him rich. He doesn't need to take it from this goy. But it's the same thing that Avram Avinu said, actually. If you remember in the story of the 4 and 5 kings, right. They were going to give him all sorts of wealth, the war spoils, and Avram said, "No, don't worry, I don't need all of that."
Right, but on the other hand, he took all the wealth from Egypt.
What's that?
He accepted all the wealth from Egypt.
Yeah, they asked that actually. They asked why did he have to do that if he didn't accept the other. Yeah. Okay.
And Hashem gives us things usually in a natural way. So why don't we say that this is the way Hashem chose to give him the wealth, to have it come from the goy?
Well, the way that the Malbim says, you don't really have a question. If you read the words of the Malbim closely, what does the Malbim say?
He didn't think that reading the writing merited a reward.
Yeah. I didn't do anything that you should give me any money. And I don't need your gifts. I don't take gifts. So what I'm doing is not worth all that that you're going to give me.
So what does that teach us? Does that teach us that if we get some kind of a windfall, we should not accept it?
Well, it depends. Every situation is, you have to you can't make blanket statements about whether you should or whether you shouldn't. But
do we learn any lesson from this?
yeah, I mean, it really begs the question. It doesn't really give so much explanation here. All we see over here is that he refused it. And I'm just bringing other sources where you see in other cases in history also gifts that were offered to Jews were refused. So we see that there's something like that. Especially, it's not a private gift. It's a gift from a yeah. Let's see. Maybe we have something here on the page. Yud Zion. Oh, the Rav Sadia goes on a word that we didn't pick up on over here. Niv nibaz bezischa. Where is this word? It's in Yud Zion. Amakadam malka matnasach lach levayasan v'nivaz bezyayan leachron hav. Um, yeah, Rav Sadia Gaon, he doesn't give the considerations that I've been talking about. He picks up on this word. I can hardly even pronounce it. Nevaz beyason beyasach. That he says that comes from a language of Bizbez. Shebizbez kol nechasav. He looked very. He spurned. He spurned and it was lowly in his eyes all physical possessions and holdings and wealth. He didn't want to have that. Didn't want to have that for whatever reason. So that's what he notes that that word over there is a bit of an unusual word over there. So as you say, there could be many good things that could be done with money, and there could be things that could with wealth, and there's also the possible fallout that comes from wealth. Sometimes wealth is not a good thing for a person. So it seems over here that Daniel just did not, according to the way Rav Sadia is explaining, he didn't want to have the didn't want to have the wealth. Didn't want to have the wealth. He said, you keep your wealth. I'm not interested in becoming wealthy. And says it has something to do with a Yerushalmi in Peah. And Rashi says that word is just being translated as your presence. Doron. Dor no saich. From the word doron, a present. But it's interesting that, in other words, why didn't the pasuk use the word doron? Why is it using this unusual word? So Rav Sadia is saying, you see from the word that's being used in the pasuk, that's how Daniel regarded presence. He looked at them. It's not something to run after and try to attain and even to accept. And there is, in fact, a statement in the Gemara. The Gemara says, "Sona matanos yithya," the one who spurns and has an aversion to being given gifts will have life. So that's what it says. So we'd have to. Okay. Right. Okay, so 18. Alan.
That's oh, okay.
Page 58.
Right.
It's the second line. It's the last half of that line after the two dots.
Yeah. Anak Malakor Elohor Elohor Malachusor Urabusor Avikoror Mahadador Yahav Alina Netzar Avuch Umid Saw D Yahavle Kol Mayur Umayur well Lisha Noah Over Zerin but Dacha Lech Len Amin Cordormo He D Vor Survey Hambor Kone D Hambor Survey Hambor Ma Uri Hambor Survey Hambor Marine D Hambor Survey Hor Mala P not peel up there or no day Reem Nay Ru Hey
You went past the two dots, right?
Yeah, right. Okay.
Okay, let's see the translation to verse 18.
Okay. You, O King, supreme God, gave kingship, greatness, honor, and majesty Nebuchadnezzar, your grandfather, and because of the greatness that he gave him, all the peoples, nations, and languages used to tremble and be frightened before him. Whomever he wished, he would kill, and whoever he wished, he would keep alive. Whoever he wished, he would raise up. Whoever he wished, he would put down.
Okay. 18. Don't really have too much over here either.
No,
Okay.
nothing.
Okay. Fine. All he says over here is brings two commentators that say this is just a beginning to Daniel's interpretation of the writing. He didn't really say anything yet.
Yeah, it's Aunt Malka after that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Even before we get to that, though, that's actually something significant over here. He said he said Daniel felt an explanation of the nature of the king's sin was appropriate and necessary. Yeah, that's true, but that doesn't explain at all why he said what he said in verse 18, unless he's first building him up and telling him how great he is before he's going to explain to him about the sin that he did. Oh, and maybe that's what this next comment is going to tell us. Okay. Oh, actually, there's a number of comments on this pasuk I see over on the other side of over on the other next page. Okay, so let's start reading. We have no time left. Okay.
You have to start.
Okay, Saved by the Bell, right in the middle of the bell, as usual.
Okay.
Okay, so we didn't read the notes to this pasuk 18, so we'll do that next time.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay, all the best.
Okay, be well.
Bye, Mayor.
Have a good
Have a
day,
good day.
everyone.
We'll be back.